This is Chris.
Hello.
Please can you introduce yourself, Chris?
My name is Chris Stokel-Walker. I'm a freelance journalist, do a lot of YouTube, and I have a special secret project that is no longer special and secret anymore, which is a book coming out in May, which will be really exciting, all about YouTube.
The reason I wanted to have Chris on the channel was because we talk about the same things, but in different worlds. So he's coming from the journalism world, I'm coming from the academic world, but our worlds often sort of intersect. And like you've interviewed me a couple of times for different articles, which I will link below, which is cool. But also, like, I feel like often when I speak to people, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick.
It's fine, you can talk about ITV News and not about me, it's fine.
No, I wasn't going to talk about ITV News. I was going to say, like, there aren't that many people around who are, like, YouTube experts or social media experts who actually seem to be very engaged in the worlds, if you know what I mean, and really understand what's going on.
No, I think that's fair. I think that...
It's surprising how few people are commentating on it who know a lot about it. What's the subtitle? Wait, I'm going to put a picture up of it now.
Ooh.
So you can see, so you don't have to remember.
Just make it really difficult for you to edit.
So
it's called, it's got the imaginative title of YouTubers, and the subtitle is something like how a social network shook up TV because you need to talk about TV and made a new raft of global stars. So it's kind of about YouTube's impact on the world of media and society in general and business, because we're at VidCon, which is very much an industry thing, and talking about merch.
Is that the industry?
I'm an industry man with my suit and tie.
Yes. Yes, it is a very big industry, and everyone's trying to jump on it because they're like, oh, these people, they are really famous.
Yeah, which
make some money.
The ridiculous tone of coverage around VidCon and generally in the media at the minute, which is 2019 seems to be the year that every other journalist other than me and a handful of others are going, oh my god, YouTube is now a thing. And it's like, hello,
it's been
welcome.
A thing for so long. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about this last night in the pub in terms of like seeing billboards of Zoella in 2013 and that's mainstream. But yes, we're finally waking up to it. And
6 years ago.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And also, bizarrely, in that time, you know, YouTube has been a thing for, best part of 15 years now.
Yeah.
In that time, there has not been like an independent, long look at how this thing operates and its effects. So we've had like a couple of YouTube-backed books, which I think are alright, but not amazing. And so that's kind of why I want to do what I am doing, which is trying to explore what this means in a way that is maybe more accessible than PhDs, because they seem really hard.
At all. No one cares about them.
That's not true, I care about them. I talk to all academic YouTubers.
Academic YouTubers?
Well, academics and academic YouTubers, and also the middle bit in the Venn diagram.
I think I'm in the middle there.
Yeah, you're doing both now.
I am technically doing both.
What is it called? Are you, it's not ethnograph, what are you doing?
I'm an ethnographer of, an this is autoethnographic research. In and amongst the other. I have explained it if you watch my transcript.
Yeah, I know, but this is the thing, what I mean, academic language, I don't understand it. I'm a journalist, I do short words. Anything over 10 letters, I cannot deal with. My editor kind of shouted at, he didn't shout at me. He explained that he really enjoyed my first draft, but that it was very much a reporter's book, which is like, a journalist doing a 2,000-word story and then just doing several 2,000-word stories. So he's brought in a lot of the narrative to try and explain how we got to this point, and also coaxed out of me more opinions from myself, because as a journalist I have to be like, no, I have no opinions about this hellhole of a site that sometimes it is, and sometimes it's a great thing, and so I have to rely on talking to people like you.
Some people like me. I think that's really interesting. Like when you're commissioned to do a piece for a newspaper or a magazine or whatever, how much do you have to take on the tone of that publication?
Like loads, and also explaining the basics. So the perfect example is the day after the KSI Logan Paul fight, I was interviewed on BBC Breakfast, and the first question that they asked was, how big are these people? And I started by saying, well, Logan Paul has 19 million subscribers, and then I got to and the TV presenter was like, just to clarify, so does subscribers mean that they pay for this?
Right, so it's just like, wow, you're
so
talking to people who are assuming the audience has no knowledge.
Yeah, so the tone is much more basic, because you have to think about it, really. What I'm trying to do in my reporting is to talk intelligently about this platform that is very mature and has some really, really interesting things happening in it. But I have to bear in mind that the readers, probably like your nan or your gran, who don't necessarily know what YouTube is. So you have to, it's a really difficult balance to strike.
It must be quite tedious after a while, because you want to say something a bit more like interesting for the people who actually know about it, but that's not the audience you're writing for.
Yeah, and that's also part of the difficulty and why I really like the fact that I'm doing the book, because a lot of ideas that I pitch to editors about YouTube, they say that's really interesting, but our audience would not care about that. So like, I wanted to do a thing about the globalization of YouTube, the fact that like more than half of YouTube's audience, significantly more than half we think, comes from outside the English-speaking world. But no English language newspaper or magazine editor can find a reason to publish that.
Is that partly to do with the fact that when you're writing for a news outlet or a mainstream media outlet, there has to be some kind of hook that makes it relevant to this week's news or something like that? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the point. So like the James Charles thing is a really good time to talk about the very close, very intense relationship between creators and their viewers. So,
and also the generation gap where nobody above a certain age knows who James Charles is.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
And like, you do wonder about that. But again, even that is a hard sell because of that generation gap. And they say,
who's
well,
reading that?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Or, I did get to do a little bit of the internationalization of YouTube. Because I broke the news about Enchufe.tv, which was a Spanish language channel in the top sort of 100 by subscribers, got sold for like $7.5 million. So I could use that as the reason to talk a little bit about why we need to pay more attention to global YouTube.
Right.
But it's really difficult because you need to find a reason to talk about it. And that's often not important enough for a mainstream audience.
I have the same problem, which is like that in the academic world, yes, I probably will be read by people who are interested in online culture, but there aren't that many people specifically who are interested in YouTube. So I have to say something beyond like talking about something quite specific and give a justification for why it's relevant or interesting to people who are interested in something beyond that one thing. So for me, the kind of thing I'm anchoring it in is like labour and how the creative industries are changing. And that's a much broader question than like, why is YouTube interesting? Even though I think YouTube is just really interesting.
And you were saying that you had to also give a justification for why you want to do it now.
Oh yeah, that's really difficult because like we were talking about, there are lots of different ways you can justify that, but you can't. I feel like in academia you can't just cite numbers.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Even though you would think that it's like important, like good enough to say like, YouTube is the second most visited website in the world. Like it's got 2 billion.
Yeah, 2 billion logged in monthly users. So that's undercounting
as well.
it. Yeah.
Right. So.
And then you take away the fact that there is no YouTube officially in China, and you instead have like Tudu and Tencent and Youku, and then China is a massive country, so you have to take off the global population. X billion people, so ultimately you're talking about a site that's probably
it really is huge. So obviously, and that would go far enough in lots of circles, but in terms of like having a really tight plan for a PhD project, it's not quite enough.
No.
But anyway, not about me. Before you have to go, I would like to ask you to tell us about, tell us about some of your favourite articles that you've written, and I will link them below.
The weirdest one, which was probably the favourite one because it was so bizarre, was when I went to Madrid and went to a summer camp for teenagers for Wired, which was just...
the summer camp is to teach them how to be like YouTube stars.
So it was people paid up to about €2,000 for their kids to go and learn about how to build a channel, how to shoot a video, how to monetize that, and... just the contradiction between like these really young, impressionable, bright-eyed kids and like the hard commerce that they were being taught in a really dull way was super interesting. And then a lot of the stuff that I'm doing lately is kind of on the business side because I think that's really underreported. So the one that I found most interesting about that was breaking the news of Little Baby Bum's sale back in September, I think it was, which was kind of like a big moment for YouTube because it starts to talk about what I think is going to be a big trend in 2019, which is kind of the consolidation and the professionalization of the platform as a result of like sponsorships and business coming into this space, which is, I guess, has an effect on audience and things like that as well, which is difficult.
It has it's all like, if you think about how, like for us, I should have said, we're at VidCon, by the way, VidCon London. It's the third day, but like how VidCon does it. Wait, look.
Mine's yellow. I win.
Speaker. I'm not a speaker, obviously. How VidCon splits it down is they have the community track, the creator track, and the industry track, and just basically so they can charge different amounts of money, and those different groups of people are interested in different types of talks and events. But like when you see the different things that those people are talking about, I think that's really fascinating. Like the language, I tweeted this yesterday. The language of the industry track is so. It's so extreme, like it's so extremely obviously neoliberal and capitalist, not surprisingly, but also like the language of like growth hacking and like SEO and all this stuff. Like they talk about metrics so much.
Tech bro nonsense, basically.
Yes, tech bro nonsense. Sophie has an article coming out about tech bros, algorithm bros.
I need to.
It's really good.
See that.
It's really good, but when you see that, and then you see the community track, and you see how invested they are in their favourite creators and how passionately they feel about their creators, it makes me feel like slightly uncomfortable. Like the industry track are just like, they just seem dollar signs, pound signs. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing that I was talking to you about last night in a pub, which is that we are at a really interesting point in YouTube where, from the year of foundation of the site to the point at which they got rid of the broadcast yourself motto, is the same length as it has been since they got rid of that to today. And so we shouldn't be surprised by that, I don't think, that now there is hard commerce coming in and really dominating this space, because it's huge, and this is the thing, like, YouTube is becoming media now, and like, I don't understand why people think of it as this other thing that stands alone. It's like, it's not, it's established now. People have been on this site for 10, 15 years and are still producing content, and they're multi-millionaires.
And that was something that ties into something that I heard someone called Jamie Boulding saying. He's the head of Jungle Creations. He was saying his prediction is that in the next 5 years, all of these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, and TikTok possibly, who knows about renegade TikTok, but like all of them will go more towards premium content, vetted content, and away from like the sort of user-generated content which we associate with the olden days of the platforms. Which I think is kind of sad, actually, because I mean, there's a lot of shit that comes with that, but there's also a lot of like creativity and community that comes with the sort of small creators.
And that's, every creator that I spoke to for the book has kind of, if they have been on the platform for more than about 3 years, has lamented the loss
the golden age.
Like they were like, I remember back when.
You know what? That was a really funny thing. I think it was going around Twitter, which I can't remember who it was, but one creator posted like, so for you, what was the golden age of YouTube? And all these people were like, oh, 2012, 2013, oh, I miss those days. And everyone else was like, no, sorry, 2008. Like 2007, 8, when it was like actually pre-commercial, was the golden age for anyone who was around at that time. But then a lot of people flooded in like 2012, 13, and they're like, oh, those early days. Like, it's just funny how it goes in waves like that.
And there'll be kids nowadays who'll be like, Jake Paul is...
That's like his thing.
Yeah, that's
do
what
you
he
have
wants.
to go?
I do a bit, but
we can wrap up. No, it's fine actually. This is slick. We managed to cover quite a lot of things. So thank you very much for being in my video.
No worries.
And go and buy Chris's book, I guess, if you're interested in YouTube.
YouTubersbook.com.
Yeah. That's going to be on the screen then.
And then Just to make it
What,
really
you think
difficult.
it's gonna like, I've
You
got
push
some
it
like
off.
fancy, yeah, okay.
I want to challenge you in your editing. I want to help you improve your
I don't
autoethnography.
Okay, thank you. And wait, before you go,
Yeah.
if you have anything to say to this, what do you think is going to happen this year, maybe next year? Do you have any like thoughts about what might happen in online video?
I think that we're going to pass some very big numbers in terms of like numbers of videos uploaded. I think that YouTube is probably going to have yet another scandal after like the conspiracy theory scandal. That's not a difficult prediction to make.
It has about 10 scandals a year, so...
Yeah, and I think there's going to be... It's not really the most interesting side of it in terms of for creators and viewers, but I think there's going to be a load of business deals, and I think that people are going to get very, very rich, and some of those will be creator-led things. Like, we're at VidCon, and yesterday it was sort of like announced that Rhett and Link are going to buy Smosh.
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it off camera. Yeah.
God!
I need to hunt down Rhett and Link and then ask them how much they pay for it.
But you know what? I think that's really interesting. Like how a lot of the really big creators now have set up their own companies and continue to set up companies and are just like, you think about like Alfie and Zoe, like what's it called? A to Z.
A to Z creators.
Like they are cashing in. Because they have that kind of level of influence, and they've realised, I heard someone say today, like any smart creator who's big enough wouldn't just be doing their content, they'll be like branching out and diversifying their income, because who knows what's going to happen to YouTube as a platform or any other platform. You know, that's not where the big bucks comes from. It's they're like leveraging that to then do bigger things.
Also, one other thing to talk about that's going to happen in 2019. 2018 was the year of burnout. 2019 is going to be the year of creators saying, I do not want to be the same person I was when I started on this site.
Yeah.
Lots of difficult discussions about that, and people wanting to change
because
their
they've been making content, maybe some of them for 10, 12 years, and they've like grown up from teenage to now, and I've heard, for sure. Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye. I feel like we're on CBBS again.
Day 2 of VidCon. 3 of VidCon for you.
I know, it's relentless. Are you doing bloopers? Are you thinking bloopers in your head?
Give me that
content.
I'm like getting off all of the shots that you need and everything.
I should have said at the beginning of this video, well, Zoe, put this into the beginning of the video. Shit. I forgot that it cuts off.
First blooper.